Okay, I'm going to show you all a little bit about reports in Salesforce. Reporting is super important for an effective CRM, which is also called a client relationship management or constituent relationship management tool, which Salesforce is one of those. We have what I've looked at here is the NPSP fundraising reports that are right out of the box. I would actually probably customize some of these to meet our specific needs. But as you can see, you have the last year, but not this year. You have some years, but not this year. You have campaign ROI analysis. Uh, you should have donation pipeline somewhere in here. Um, Expected opportunities, I guess, is kind of like a pipeline list. There's all kinds of reports that you can see. Let's look at that LIBUNT one, something that a lot of development professionals like to use. That's right. There's not a lot of data in the system right now, so I can't show you too much, but we have basically just want to say that there's a lot of reports in here and a lot of ways to report on the information. It is I've just find the Salesforce reporting to be pretty amazing. I've already showed you a little bit with the grant pipeline and the grant calendar, what I've done. I also have this open opportunities by stage. This is kind of like our pipeline. As you can see, there's a chart. So any kind of report you can actually add a chart to. So that's pretty neat because these charts will go into a dashboard, which is actually another feature that Salesforce has for analytics. But I want to show you some of the ones that I've done from previous organizations. So this is one that I did that was current fiscal year metrics by campaign. So I wanted to see all of our fundraising or funding sources, how we're raising our budget objective, where we're at with our budget objective, according to each of the campaigns that we're going to use. Those campaigns being the strategies on how we're going to raise the dollars from each one of these buckets, if you will. So obviously, with the corporate and civic contributions, we're not only doing an event where we get sponsorships. There's lots of ways that corporations give, either in the appeals or different ways. Same thing with events. There's mainly the event, but there could also be a campaign that you set up for outside organizations doing events for us. Foundation grants, some of them are going to come through appeals because it's a family foundation. They don't accept grant proposals, but they love to see our appeal letters, and so those might fall into another campaign there. And then household donations are all over the place. I mean, basically every kind of campaign except for the grant writing campaigns. So this is one way to look at our metrics, and then what we get, and what you can't see is at the very end it totals all up, and you can see where your totals are against these, and the totals will have the same group, the sum of the amount and then the budget gap. That is a customization that I have built, where I've created this object called a funding source, and I've also created an object called an annual campaign. So that's one. Another one is looking at the same kind of thing, but by stage. So this is a really useful weekly report to look at. You'll see down here, it says detail rows, and it's toggled off. If I toggled it on, then I would see all of the donations under each one of these funding sources. And they would all be listed down here. But here you do see the total. We're able to see the total side on this one, and you can see I always wanted to keep track of those that are pledged and those that are posted, because these are what I consider, donations that are for the most part won for our annual campaign. So if my annual campaign is whatever this comes out to be, 700 and some $1,000. I think it's 750 if I remember correctly, but I want to see that this is where we're at. This is, you know, like what we've raised towards that 750 goal, and this is how much we've got left to go. Must be more than 750. So this is yet another kind of report that I've actually invented that I think is really strong for any kind of development director or even executive director. Let's see, and also, and sort of in that same process, I had built this, you know, similar to the campaigns, metrics for a campaign. This is a working revenue budget for planning purposes only. So this isn't live. This is what all the stuff that is expected, and this helps us to plan our annual campaign. So anyways, there's lots of ways that we can go with Salesforce reports. This is a great example of what you can do in terms, I mean, this is so basic. We can do so much more than this, but you can, you know, slip in this chart and then you can toggle it off if you got sick of looking at that chart. You can also, you know, I go over here to this the app launcher and I'll launch another item called dashboards, and there's probably some out-of-the-box dashboards in here that we might want to look at. So let's see if there's any fundraising ones. Look at donor management. Oh, grant management dashboard. Let's see what this guy looks like. So there's no data in it because, well, there's a little bit of data. So you can kind of see you've got a grant pipeline chart that's pulled up from the report, and this is the report that it's pulling from. You've got total grants received, so we don't have anything there because we've got pretty much empty. And then this is total grants received in terms of dollars, and then you can have these different things like, you know, a speedometer or whatever. Lots of cool little pieces. You can edit this if this isn't quite enough. You can edit it and you can add components. So if I wanted to create a component, I might think about that grant calendar as one that I would want to look at. You know, and then you can choose what kind of thing you want to look at. We've got, oh, and this was a calendar one. So we might do it like this and then show, you know, basically show these by month. I don't have it all set up yet, but we could do something like that. Anyways, you get the idea. This is like just how many, what is it looking at? Just how many records. But you could also look at something else like amount total of the amount of them. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do if you have the right data in there. And right now I don't have very much data in here, so it's hard to really show what some of these reports could look like. But I will say from experience that I've been able to get all of my needs met, both with dashboards and reports in Salesforce.